2 o'clock in the morning. We go through the barracks, we turn on the lights to check everything. She gets up and starts running, and we tell her to stop. Dung line. She didn't stop at that point in time. I pulled my .45 and so the sergeant. And she finally stopped, otherwise she's going to get it right in the back. That's where I came the closest time to actually killing somebody. Hey, my name is Robert Williams. I grew up in a small town, Colville, Utah, about 35 miles east of Salt Lake City here. Went to North Summit High School. From there, I went to the University of Utah, ROTC, and graduated in 1969 with a degree in marketing, management, and minor in military science. And from there, I went in the Army.
What made you, are you from a military family?
We are. I have an uncle. Well, first off, both my grandfathers served in the First World War. My grandfather Williams, he served, and my grandfather Bullock, he served and went to France. Grandfather Williams did not. My grandfather Bullock went to France, and he loved it over in France.
What did he do over there? You know,
he was just an infantryman. Was a clerk for an infantry company.
Did he talk about it much?
Nope, not at all. And then my father, he served in Second World War. He was in Patton's army, and he was in. He got out of. He was in for a number of years, got out, and then when he got out, he was in reserves for a number of years, and he retired as lieutenant colonel. And then I had an uncle who was an artillery officer. My father was armor, my uncle was artillery. And so my twin brother and I both went into artillery from the University of Utah at the same time.
Identical twin?
Identical twins, yeah.
Wow.
And we went to Fort Sill for training. He went to Korea. And while he was in Korea, I was protected. They wouldn't send me to another combat zone. So he's up on the DMZ. Then when he came home, I got on orders, went to Vietnam for a year, and he came down on order to go to Vietnam, and the war ended. So that's a little bit of a story.
Did your dad talk about his service in World War II? Much?
Very, very little.
And he was in a tank.
He was a tank. He had 2 tanks shot out from underneath him. He had escaped out the bottom. And he talked about some of his experiences, and it was not much at all.
Were you going to get drafted, or did you enlist, or tell me about that a little bit?
Well, I went to ROTC at the University of Utah, and I went to summer camp between your junior and senior year. You go to basic training up at Fort Lewis, Washington. Well, I get up there, and I fail a physical up there. I'd had hurt my shoulder playing football on my right shoulder, and I had recurrent dislocations, so I did surgery on it. I get up there, and I'd lost a lot of strength, and so I could not do the horizontal ladders and all. They said, well, you cannot, be an officer. I said, well, are you sure? And I said, yeah. So they sent me home. Draft board got a hold of me and classified me 1A and go down for a physical, and they were going to draft me. So I thought that was kind of weird. I could go in as an enlisted who has to do a lot more manual labor than officers. So I appealed the decision to the 6th Army and was able to go back into. So I did my summer camp after our basic training after I graduated from college.
Tell me about basic training. What was that like?
It was cold. It was rainy. It was windy up at Fort Lewis. It was not really a lot of fun. It's like regular basic training as for everybody. Just terrible. At times, parts of it were terrible. We had to go on bivouac, and when it was raining the entire time, when I get out there trying to shave with cold water and all, and my beard was growing pretty heavy at the time, and the cadre, the captain said, "Hey, you haven't shaved this morning." I said, "Yes, I have." I said, "Can't you see all these cuts on my face?" He said, "No, you haven't." Low crawled the horizon, so I had me get in a track, where they truck cars are gone, the ruts, low crawling in that, just mud. No, it was just great. And the rifle range in rain and snow and all this good stuff. Not snow, just rain, fog. It was cold a lot. We were wet a lot.
What did you make of your drill sergeants?
He was he was good. He was strong. I remember he came in at 5 o'clock in the morning he'd grab a hold of a topped up garbage can and beat it with a baseball bat to wake us up. And you had to hurry and get done and have our inspections. And more often than not, we come back after being out in the field, after you inspected, everything is on the ground, torn apart. It was okay. I mean, you just have to look at it, teaching you discipline to do what you're told to do and pay attention to detail.
What happened after boot camp?
After boot camp, I was assigned to Fort Sill, Oklahoma, excuse me, to go officer basic training. I went there, and it was a great experience, and all schooling for the most part. After that, I was assigned to the Bravo Battery, 2nd Battalion, 2nd Field Artillery there at Fort Sill. And so I started working there as a assistant executive officer, and I'd go out, and we were a student support battalion, which means all the students are going through artillery school. We go there they'd go there to learn how to do all sorts of things, fire direction, center, gunnery, how to lay the gun, batteries, and all this stuff. You've been practiced at in school, but they got hands-on for more experience there. So we did that and go out and shoot. I was with the young guys out there, the trainees, basic training, and those for the officer basic course would be down there to shooting, and they go shooting quite a bit. And we had to support them. There are howitzers, our men. We get everything set up for them, watch to make sure they didn't do anything wrong. Spent a lot of time with the safety officers out there to make sure they fired in the right direction. And also, it was very good training and experience for that. Started that in October of 1969 and was there until December of 1971.
Wow. Okay.
And we were the post salute battery, so we did a lot of salutes and things for the post. Visiting dignitaries that come in, we'd salute, do post salute honors for them, visiting generals, visiting heads of state from other countries. We do those things for them.
Were they the 105s?
We're the M101A1 split trail. The old 101A1 was from the Second World War. Great weapon. I fired thousands and thousands of rounds off of that.
Describe that thing. How far would it reach? And
it'd reach about 11,000 meters, which is about 6.5 miles. About a 54-pound projectile, and we had HE, which is high explosive. We had PD fuses, which are point detonating. We could set that to delay, so it would go in the ground and blow up in the ground. And we had time fuses, which would go off at a certain time in the air. Then we had VT fuses, which are variable time fuses on them. So we could determine the optimum height for it.
And when you're working one of those guns, how many guys were on that team?
Oh, let's see, 6 to 8 normally. At Fort Sill, when I get in combat, it's a lot different story. Didn't have that many men. But at Fort Sill, it was for training, but we'd normally have the students down there. My men would be out and shoot periodically, but basically the students doing the shooting.
If you want a rapid fire, how fast can you, how many can you fire off if you're really trying to lay down a lot of fire?
Boy, I can't remember. I mean, probably 8 rounds or more a minute, for the first few minutes. And after that, you have to slow down because they get hot.
You got any good stories that happened while you were training there? Anything that stands out in your mind?
Fort Sill?
Yeah.
We were assigned to do aggressor detail, which means the students were out there. They'd be in bivouac for several nights. So we'd go out there and be aggressor detail. And we'd go out. We could go anytime between 10 o'clock at night and 6 o'clock in the morning. Well, the battery commander said, we will be going out at 2:30 in the morning. We'll get assembled here, then we'll go out in the field. Had to go about 20 miles. And we go out there and we hit there about 4 o'clock to 5. It depend on, it was before morning nautical twilight. That's the time when it's really starting to get light. And if your eyes kind of, if you ever notice, kind of, they can't focus. It's just kind of wavy and all. And that's when we did it. And I can remember we're walking up this road very faithfully, and right in front of us on the road, it was a gravel road. There was a water moccasin going across it. Scared the living daylights out of us. But we kept pretty much quiet for the most part. We get within about 200 meters of them, then we fire off the hand pops, which is and then artillery simulators, throw them around, run through the camp, scare the living daylights out of them. Of course, we're shooting our M16 at the time with blanks on and everything. It was kind of fun to do that to them because they're all scattered and all around the place, just to see what the reaction would be. That was kind of enjoyable to do that. But Fort Sill was a good experience. We did firepower demonstrations, which I don't know if they do them anymore.
What is that?
That's when you'd have our battalion. There'd be about 5 battalions out shooting, and they'd do a demonstration for the people at Fort Sill who wanted to come to it, or off post, or dignitaries that come, have grandstands, and they'd have targets out there we shoot on, time on targets, and do trajectory shoots where before it landed, they'd be counting it down from the stand, hit 10, and they'd let illumination round go off, and 9, 8, all the way down, WP round or illumination, whatever. And then all of a sudden, that'd be time on target. That's when about 20 or 30 howitzers would be firing, and they'd all land at the same time from different directions.
Wow. And
then they have aircraft fly in and drop ordnance out there, too. We'd mark it with WP, white phosphorus, and they come in and bomb on that.
A lot of firepower, I guess, and all that stuff, isn't there?
Yeah.
How big an area would
the demonstration be?
No, like when you were, if you just shot a shell out there, the biggest thing, how much area would it wipe out?
Boy, I can't recall exactly. I know the 105 burst radius is about 40 meters.
Wow.
So that's 40, 80, 240 feet would cause damage. I mean, it's the air rounds would be better. That's what we want to do. You get more dispersion on the ground. If you put it in the ground, it's all energy goes in the ground. So we want it up in the air, unless you're shooting at other things.
So most of the things you were shooting in Vietnam, were they above ground stuff for the most part?
Most part, yeah.
Okay, are you thinking you're going to Vietnam at this point when you were at Sill?
I came down on order to go to Vietnam in about, July of 1971 to report to, I had to be at Travis Air Force Base on I left the day after Christmas, so I had to be there so I was the 26th to 27th, I had to be at Travis, and flew out on the 28th of December.
And what was going through your mind at that point?
When I went to Vietnam or before?
Before.
Well, we didn't want to go. I mean, but I'd sworn an oath that I'd go. And so we were going. It was kind of, I had a small son at the time. He was born in 1970. And then when I left, my wife was pregnant. So I left, and that was difficult to do. And so I just remember, it was not a good experience. I mean, I was scared to death, and my wife was, and just didn't know if we were going to come back or not.
The flight, you left from Edwards. What was the flight like? Was it a commercial airline you took over there?
I flew from Travis Air Force Base. From Travis, I flew up. It was the Flying Tiger World Airlines. I don't know which one. It was a commercial jet, but it was a contract, and 2 seats on one side, 2 on the other. It was a 707. I don't know what it was. Wasn't paying much attention. And I'd forgotten, but we flew from there up to Alaska. and all we had on is I had a summer uniform on. That's what they said to wear. And then I had a field jacket, and that was it. And several sets of underwear said, we'll provide you everything else once you get there. So
And were you going over with people you trained with, or you went over by yourself?
No, I was a filler.
Wow.
And so we land at Anchorage, the Air Force Base there. Get off the plane. Holy crap, it was cold. It was so cold and snowy, and just this light jacket. I didn't have the liner. Went in and we stayed there for several hours while they refueled it and everything. Then we flew to Yokohama, Japan, and we were there for several hours. And the weather wasn't really hot in Japan at the time. It was rather cool. Take off, we land at Benoit or Tonson, I can't recall exactly which one. And we get up, start walking, and the plane was rather quite nice. Get near the door, and holy crap, my glasses fogged up. Have I gone to hell, or what is here? It was so hot and humid, it was terrible. And you got outside instantly where I was soaking wet. It was hot and humid. And
did you land in the day or night?
Landed in the day.
In the day. I heard it's had a smell. Is that true? Or you remember that?
No, it smelled like you're down on the sea where everything's kind of rotting, kind of musty smell. I noticed it for about a month, and after that, I didn't notice it.
After you land, what happened?
Stayed there for a couple, 3 days. I got there New Year's Day, I believe it was. And that night here we get there, and all of a sudden the sky erupts, and they were celebrating again for New Year's. And of course, not too far away, they're taking incoming. I could tell what it was, artillery coming in. And then it got reassigned from there up to Da Nang to the 3rd Battalion, 82nd Field Artillery, which is outside of Da Nang a little bit.
And what was that like when you landed there in Da Nang?
I caught a C-130 up to Da Nang. Went up to Da Nang, and it was just hot. I was met there by a first sergeant of one of the units, and they took me over to where we were. It was about a 20, 30-minute ride in a Jeep to get over where I was going, and just picked me up and stayed there
Was it all on base, or you left base?
No, we were on our own base. We were 20 miles away or so.
Oh, what was that like driving there?
It was through the countryside. It wasn't a huge amount of jungle where we were at. It was built up, a lot of rice paddies and all, and they took us over there.
Did you see a lot of locals driving there, or not really?
Yeah. Well, after you got out of the airport there at Da Nang, on both sides of the road, there's built up with shanties and all, and drove from there over rice paddies. And first thing the guy said, is it okay we stop at the PX? We go to the PX. And that's where Bob Hope had been there just a few days before, and they still had the stands up. They're tearing them down and everything. Go to the PX. And said, wow, this is crazy. In there, all the stereo equipment, camera equipment you'd ever want to see in your life. Candy bars and stuff.
You buy anything?
Not then. I didn't know what I wanted to get. I just kind of, a few days later, I went and bought a camera, a small little Yamaha camera, I think it was, little teeny one, just to use for things.
What was your base called? Something in particular? What was
Camp
it called?
Red Horse is where we went to.
And how many? Describe it.
It was an area where it was the rear area for our fire base. So there were Alpha Bravo Charlie companies or batteries were the rear area was there. That was the rear area. They had the supplies there. Where they have the ammunition dumps was there and all that stuff. The battalion fire direction center was there, fired, and the headquarters battery was there. The colonel stayed there. The staff, the headquarters stayed there. Had an officers club there. They had places where you could sleep, which was they were aluminum top buildings, and they were open on the side. They had screening, windows keep everything out, and doors on the ends, and had places where you could go shower. Little buildings off you could shower in and all, and mess halls and all.
And how many guns did they have there?
None.
None.
That was just the headquarters.
That was just the headquarters.
It was supposedly a secure area. They had a perimeter around it, and there's a headquarters battery there would provide all of the security for the base, along with certain people. I had a contingent in the rear, which they would be there to, small number of men. They'd provide security there for it.
So what was your first assignment there then?
My first assignment, I was assigned to the S4, which is material, and I was just there for a week or so, a couple of weeks, and I did inventory of vehicles and all, and just to see what we had that they were on, which they had signed for, the battalion commander had, and see if they're all there, and they weren't. So they had, there were parts of Jeeps and things like that which had been damaged and all. So I did that. Then I was assigned to be the Alpha Battery Commander of the 3rd 82nd Field Artillery. And I was then sent out to my fire base, which was LZ Linda or Hill 270. They had two different.
They flew you out there then?
Helicopter, yep.
How far away was that? Was it close?
About 20 clicks over a mountain range, and out in the valley, great big wide valley. And we were stationed on about the south end of the valley to the north end of the valley. It was a huge valley. Was another firing battery. Then on the top of the ridge line was another battery.
So were you on a little hill? Is that what that was?
It was a hill, yeah.
They just cleared it?
It was 270. We were on the top, and they cleared it off, burned it off, Agent Orange all around it, around the base of it. And
how big would you say it was, just in diameter?
Oh, it was elongated. It was along the top of a hill, like on a ridge. And we were on about the widest part, maybe 50 meters wide, maybe 300 or 400 meters long for us and the infantry on it.
Pretty small.
Then we had the wire. Oh, yeah, it wasn't very big at all. Had the wire around it.
Towers?
Tower on the top, it belonged to the artillery because we had what they call an integrated observation system up there, I didn't even know about it till I got there. It was a top secret thing, which at the time it was a laser rangefinder, night vision device, and naval binoculars. And so it was all calibrated, so you could see laser where things were and know exactly where it was, get a direction and distance, and you could call fire on it.
Wow, they had never, through all your training, you'd never even heard of it.
No.
Wow.
There were a lot of interesting things over there.
Okay, so you get there. What's your take on that place? How many guys are up there?
At the time that I was over was about 120. I had 6 guns at the time, 6 howitzers, which was normal what you'd have. And then my fire direction center had a mess hall, had maintenance, had just what I needed, the firing battery.
And fire every night? Describe what was the duty? What happened every day there?
Boredom for a lot of the time. Then it'd be replaced by terror. Infantry call for fire. We'd shoot for them. And depending on the time of year, I went up there last in January, and it's raining, cold, and not really nice, but we get calls for fire. So from our forward observers, so we'd fire for them. Sometimes it would be, a firefight would last 20 or 30 minutes. Sometimes it'll last for a couple of hours in their support. And so we'd fire for them. A couple of times, well, no, more than a couple of times, several times, I get a call from the forward observer saying, "We're lost. Help us." So we fired white phosphorus, which would be, it'd catch on fire, be white, just it'd make smoke, white smoke, but it'd be really kind of a fire. And we'd fire on different grid coordinate squares, and by using a compass, they could figure out where they were, by resection, intersection, find out where they were, and then they'd know who they were and say thank you and go forward again and get another one another day later or something. And the jungle is fairly dense where they're at. They try to get to a place where they could see different directions.
The first real terror thing that happened to you there?
Oh, we had ground probes all the time. And they would try and get onto us or shoot mortars on us. I like that. But the ground probes are what were scary because we had an anti-personnel radar system on the hill, and they had it in different spots, and they could tell what movements were. And when we'd see movement, we would just call artillery fire in that general area from our supporting batteries and take care of that, then shoot with small arms and all.
How long were you over there when one of those happens, an incursion? Somebody tried an incursion. Were you there very long?
You mean for the day? We'd be there. It would happen overnight. So it'd be a day or so, and then.
So you were getting those all the time?
Periodically. It wasn't that often, maybe once a week.
Oh, that's enough.
Oh, it's plenty enough.
Yeah.
And then we had one really severe when they were coming on us. When they come up towards one of the fingers towards us on our direction, we called mortar fire from the infantry, and they fired on them. We had help fire from another battery, and we lowered our howitzers and shot nails at them. What we call it, nails. It was flechette rounds.
What does that mean? What does that mean?
They're nails.
Oh, it's like a shotgun kind of thing?
Yeah. I can't recall how many nails I had in there, several thousand, bring it down to elevation and shoot it out. We'd also shoot Killer Jr., which we'd have HE we'd fire out and bore safe. So about 75 meters out, it'd explode. Then we fired WP at the same thing. Then we have illumination coming down. I mean, just small arms fire. It's chaos, a lot of noise.
How long would something like that last usually?
That one lasted about 15, 20 minutes.
I would guess that everybody is just amped up when that's going on.
There's a lot of adrenaline, and you have to control it for me to make sure you don't get too amped up, more controlled than what you'd had to do. And then afterwards, it was even worse because all of a sudden that adrenaline's gone and you're just bent. You're spent. I mean, it's really come down hard, a crash, I guess the word for it. And that was tough to deal with that too.
Yeah. Your schedule, were you on like 12 hours or how did that work for you?
I had a couple other officers on there with me, and you had to have one in the fire direction center all the time, and then one at the firing battery down, making sure the guns were okay. And we'd be on call, and we would take turns being up all night long. I took my turn like the rest of them. And a lot of times there's nothing going on, and so you get kind of bored.
What happens when that's going on?
When you get bored, then you have to increase your patrols around the checking on your men, make sure they don't fall asleep when they're on guard duty, because we put outside the wire, we have listening posts, and you check on them periodically, and once in a while they'd fall asleep, and the real pain.
What would happen if you caught a guy falling asleep? You just get reprimanded, or?
They would get reprimanded. We could court-martial them for it, depending on the circumstance, what it would be, Article 15s. But a lot of these were young kids, and they didn't realize what the extent of it was. You know, here, if something happens, they fall asleep, they get into us, they could kill, 300-400 men up there. And so it was quite important. We maintained control and discipline, that they stayed awake and performed their duties out there. I had a problem with drugs on the hill. They were bringing drugs in all the time. When my men would go back, we try and get them back every other week for 2 or 3 days, maybe 4 days at the most, so they could get back, relax, get change of clothes and washed up pretty good, then come back up. And they bring drugs with them. And
What was the drug that was really a problem?
Heroin.
Wow. And what would
marijuana? Smelled that every night.
Yeah. That's a little scary, I guess.
It's scary, especially when you're up there. You're depending upon them. And one of the guys we found asleep, he was on drugs heavily. He was passed out on drugs. So we had to send him back and court-martial him.
How did you deal with that? I mean, how did you figure out who was on him, and how did that work? I mean, for you as an officer?
It was difficult. Well, it was difficult until we had a urinalysis test. We'd have that periodically. And I would get a list of numbers, like 4 numbers, and it'd be like 23, 37, 56, or whatever. And that'd be the last 2 of their social security number. We run down the list and see who it was and bring them out. And that was the most demeaning job I had to do it there, was that they had to drop their drawer and you had to watch the urine flow right from them into the tank. And they'd try and get someone else to do it for them. And all. Nope. And they'd say, "Oh, I can't go." I said, "All right, you just stay in this room here." Gave them coffee or water until they have to go. Sometimes it take 2 or 3 hours.
How often would you administer those tests?
Whenever they sent information to me up to do it, every other week or so.
And
I had no idea when it'd be random.
If they tested positive, what happened at that point then?
Then we'd send them back to the rear and see what was going to happen with them.
So that was kind of an ongoing thing at that point.
Ongoing. Get new guys in all the time and off all the time. And it was ongoing. We had to do strip searches for the men and cavity searches when they came back from being back in the rear area. They had a little vial about the size of your little finger. It would be filled full of heroin or cocaine.
Oh my gosh.
And so.
And how long would you stay on that base? And then when you'd go back, how often was that?
Whenever I had to go back, normally I go back maybe one day a week, just for a battery commander staff call or something that needed to be done. I had to go back and arrange for it. But for the most part, I was there 6 to 7 days a week.
Go back to the Fire Direction Center. What happens in there?
In the Fire Direction Center, that's where the radio call would come in that someone needs our help. So what we would do, that's where they compute all the firing data from where we were. They'd have to try and figure out their location and then start adjusting fire till we got the call to do fire for effect. That's when all the guns would fire. We'd adjust with 2 guns, then we fire for effect for all 6.
And how many guys are in that center during a normal shift?
4. Officer, senior enlisted, and 2 enlisted.
And did you guys have people out in the field that were giving you?
We had a fire reservers that were out there.
Were they based with you guys, or were they from somewhere else?
They were with the infantry. They were assigned to my battery, and then they would be assigned to the infantry. So they'd be attached to them for everything. And they'd leave our fire base at times and go out and do around the perimeter. They'd be out for a week at a time, and they'd come back in, and they look terrible when they come back in. I mean, they'd be getting LRP rations, which are long-range reconnaissance patrol rations, which now we call them MREs, meals ready to eat. And so they came back and they said, "Give us some C rations or anything to eat. We're tired of these." And
what did you guys have on base? Did you have a kitchen?
We had a small kitchen, and they'd fly food out to us periodically. And sometimes we had really good food. Other times we didn't.
How often were you guys eating sea rats up there?
When we couldn't get helicopters in because of the rains and all bad weather. So we had a good supply of sea rations. Interestingly enough, when we had sea rations, I was the one that had to hand them out because people would fight over them. So I learned real quick. In fact, I told Bob I started to turn them upside down when you hand them over. So I turned them upside down, cut them off, so you couldn't see what one they were grabbing. Because there were some favorites and there were some others did not want to have.
What were the favorites and what were the not so favorite?
Spaghetti wasn't too bad. beans and franks were not too bad. The beef stew wasn't too bad, but the ham and eggs was terrible. And you want those that had fruit cups with me. Some of them had peaches and pears and fruit cocktail.
How often were you guys, did you guys do things where you lifted the guns and moved them out in the field ever?
I did not do that.
You stayed on base.
I stayed on. My battery did not do that while I was a battery commander.
What other stories happened there that stand out in your mind? Anything funny or tragic or scary?
Well, one day, it happened for about 3 days. My whole battery, we had to bring us water by a 500-gallon tank. They bring it in, a trailer and water. They bring it in, and we got our tank and we were drinking it. And about 8 hours later, everybody was sick. They'd sat. The person back at the battalion, a brigade, 196th Infantry Brigade, where we were attached, they fell asleep with the trickler. We were trickling in chlorine to purify the water. So my whole battery was down. The other company up there, headquarters for the other infantry battalion, they were down. I mean, here we are. We're all doing that. You got a latrine that had 4 places to sit, and that was all used. And so we had to make use of our steel pots, take the liners out, take the tops off, and you do what you got to do to survive. It was terrible.
Oh.
Then they finally got us drugs, Lotomol, Lotomanol, or something like that to stop it. Then you had the problem. It's a vicious cycle.
Then nobody can go after that.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's stopped up.
And the food, for the most part, up there, they was prepared. It was pretty good. I mean, breakfast would be dehydrated eggs and dehydrated potatoes, which they'd reconstitute, and it was fine. Ham and all. Once in a while, we get beef or steak or chicken. And for 1 month up there, the only vegetable we had was stewed tomatoes.
Oh. Can you even look at the tomato now?
Tomatoes fine. Stewed tomatoes, no.
Mm.
I'm kind of getting over it, but it was terrible. I mean, that's all you had for a while. And then, so we were up there, and then I got sick. I got pneumonia while I was up there.
Was that during the monsoon season or no?
It was in late May that I got that. And so I went back to the rear, and they replaced me as battery commander. I was over the hospital, got taken care of there.
How long were you in the hospital?
I was just there for a day or two. They figured out what it was and sent me back and filled me full of penicillin, gave me inhalers and all. But it was so cold. I mean, you wouldn't believe it, but you're cold at 70 degrees over there when you're used to 90 and 100 and the humidity. And then we had some rain in there, and I just got sick. Several of us got sick, but I was sick for about a week.
And I would assume you're a lot older than everyone over there for the most part?
I was 25. My senior enlisted at the time they'd be in their 30s or 40s.
Oh, yeah.
Most of my men were 17, 18. Well, 18, 19, and 20. Draftees.
What did you see in those guys? What was your take on that?
Most of them were pretty good guys. There were a few troublemakers there, but that's just, had a guy from Tennessee. He was a really good guy. He was an E4, and he was a great guy. Had other guys that were a little bit older that were trouble.
What? Give me one of those
they wouldn't
stories.
Shave and everything. Wouldn't keep clean, and it was always a chore to do that.
Yeah. What was the most challenging thing for you as an officer over there?
Someone to talk to.
What do you mean?
Well, you're kind of isolated as an officer. You can't talk to the enlisted about challenges and all. And so I talked to some other fellow battery commanders who were in the back. How do you handle this? How do you handle that? Some of the senior enlisted. It's how to try and motivate men to do things. So we started doing games. They had cockroaches. They have cockroach races. and bet money on it. And then we'd have rats up there all the time. And so what they would do is we had plotting pins, which we're using in fire direction center to plot different things. So we take an M16 round and take the bullet out of it and just leave the primer in it. Then they have the pin and they shoot at these rats when they see running around. And, then once in a while, when things are really boring, we'd have a contest. We'd shoot an illumination round out high up and then see if somebody could blow it out of the ground with another howitzer set on time round. I mean, boring is what gets to you when they're idle. Trying to get them to improve the fire base, to put more sandbags up and everything.
Were the guns pretty reliable?
Very.
So you didn't really have to fix much?
No, they're M102s, which are a different type of a 105. They're newer model. They were more air mobile, and they could turn 360 degrees. And so...
How often were you getting mail?
First month I got it I didn't get it for about a month, and then I got it pretty regularly, about once a week, twice a week. I get 3 or 4 letters and all.
What was the adjustment like for you? I mean, how long before it just felt like, oh, this is just normal? Did it ever feel that way?
After about a month, you get into a routine, and you get used to the noise. Although we could hear incoming, outgoing. I could sleep from here to the wall here, 10 feet away, and from the howitzers, I wouldn't hear them at night. But a small arms round, I wake right up. That told me we were under attack. So, but you're so tired. I mean, the longest I went without sleep was 72 hours. I write letters home to my wife, and I started this one letter. I started out, and you could read it. Then I continued it the next day, a little bit bigger writing and bigger. And by the end, it was about this wide and going straight down.
Because you hadn't slept.
You get cat naps, but not very often. It's just when you got a lot of action out around you, you just have to do what you got to do. Keep going.
Dealing with the locals, how much interaction did you guys have with local people there?
Not on the hill, not at all. Only if we go back, get a haircut at the rear area, come back, and they had people would wash. Well, we had a laundries back there to wash our clothes for us, but interaction with locals, nothing at that point in time.
When the younger guys who were working the guns, how long was their shift on that little outpost versus back in?
Well, they'd be there for at least a week or so. I'd let them go back for 2 or 3 days, come back, have to rotate the people through.
And they were helicoptering on and off.
Everything helicopter on and off. It's the only way on and off.
What did you think about the helicopters? Did you like flying on those?
Not anymore.
Tell me that story.
That one experience when I went down was enough for me.
Yeah, tell me about that. What happened?
Just on a kind of a milk run going from our post for the fire base in to do some work at the rear area. There are a few of us on it. They're trying to go in and get rest and all. And we just started getting above us. They have a row of in a Huey. There's controls and things go all the way, buttons all the way up over the top. We started getting JP4 come down on, started getting smoking and everything. And I guess we'd taken some hits. So we went down, hit pretty hard out on the rice paddy, and they got some help to us, and infantry came, surrounded us, and got us out of there. Then they got other people come and get the helicopter out and pulled it out later on.
When you guys went down in the rice paddy, did you have an M16 on you? Did you guys have guns on board?
We all had our M16, and I had a 45 as well, and 2 M60s, one on each side, and that was it. And just kind of secured the perimeter and waited.
Was that nerve-wracking?
About 4 years worth of nerve-wracking. It felt like forever. It was probably about 15, 20 minutes. They knew where we were, and we had people looking out for us. If we needed help, we could have called for it, but they came and got us. We didn't have to call for any artillery or anything like that.
You talked about you, you talked about being the control officer for the.
Oh, well.
You tell me about that.
Well, that was we'll get into that a little bit later. That
Okay.
was, see, I was on the fire base and then our unit stood down. But just before our unit stood down on our fire base, well, I was still in command. General Westmoreland came there. It was on his final tour, goodbye. And so they got us brand new uniforms and brand new shoes that were spit polished.
For when his visit comes.
When his visit came. So he came, visited, and here I got a picture of me, General Westmoreland, and my troops, and you look at them, all starched uniforms, which is the only time we had them starched, spit polished boots. Everybody had haircuts because they flew a barber out there to cut our hair for us and everything. And he inspected us and left. Then we got ice cream and pizzas after he left. So that was interesting excitement. Then I go back to the rear area. Oh, one other story up there before of the absurdities of war. We saw some rockets from our firebase going over and hitting Da Nang at the Air Force Base. And so we immediately went with our integrated observation system, laced to it, knew exactly where it was, and called it in, and we couldn't get clearance to fire. They wouldn't let us fire because it was too close to a village, so we didn't fire. Well, another ripple went off about 10 minutes later, fired more rockets, and it took out a couple of tankers over there, the great big fuel tanks they have, killed some people, damaged some aircraft, and we could have prevented it. But they wouldn't let us fire. And I was frustrated. I was mad.
Who did you have to contact? How far up the chain? Do you know how far up the chain that went?
Goes from us to battalion to brigade to the province area, and that was above our area. But that was an interesting. Became disillusioned a little bit when that happened with politics. And one other really great fun time we had. That wasn't a great fun time. This one was. We on our fire base, we got we didn't know why we got it. We got a great big load of CS, tear gas projectiles. We had, what are we going to do with this stuff? So we got the tear gas, and we called the rear, said, someone made a mistake. And they said, no, you'll be notified when the time is right. Okay. A couple of days later, we got a fire mission, a time on target. It was we were going to do a battery, 2x2 jack in the box. So we were doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different locations we were going to shoot at. So we were going to expend all the CS gas we had. So the order came down, it was time on target. We fired up when we were supposed to. We just kept firing. It took us about 3 or 4 minutes to fire it all, got rid of it all. And then we're just saying, no, that was pretty stupid. Then all of a sudden we see the ground rumble like this. And the shock waves coming toward us. They had B-52 strikes go on. We were firing into where there were suspected caves. And so B-52s, we were supposed to drive them out. The B-52s would kill them with their bombs. And our kids love that. I mean, we loved to hear and seeing all that. I mean, it was miles away. It was like 3 or 4 miles away. The shock wave hit us.
Were the planes so high you didn't even see them?
Didn't hear anything. Just till the ground rumbled, then we could hear it.
Wow.
And then another thing, which is kind of interesting for us, we were right on the edge of what they call a bomb line. And
what does that mean?
It'd be the west of the bomb line. That's where the aircraft would come in and drop the Phantoms and whatever would drop before they went in. They couldn't land with it. So they come out there, and the FAC on top of the hill above us was with the infantry and say, hey, we got a fast mover coming in. He needs to drop some ordnance. Can you make a mark for him? So we fired WP out there, white phosphorus, and the Phantom would come down below, drop it off, do a circle, come right over our fire base, hit the afterburners, and clear off all the garbage from the fire base.
Wow.
And that was pretty cool. I mean, it rattled the whole fire base.
Like, how far above you would they be?
Oh, 100 feet, 200 feet or something. I mean, it was pretty cool.
They were pretty loud, weren't they?
They were very loud. very loud. You could see them coming for 8 miles away because they trailed black smoke. Their engines were not very, very efficient, but you could see them coming.
Wow.
That was
Yeah.
about the extent of my great stories from up there.
And how long were you out at that assignment? How long were you there?
I was there from middle of January till the middle of May.
Okay.
Then I went back to the rear area because I was sick. Became one of the fire direction officers for the battalion. So you have the Battery Fire Direction Center and the one at the battalion, and we'd have to check on them and give approval to do things. And sometimes we get fire missions from brigade that they didn't have, and so we checked on all that stuff. And that was a pretty good deal.
Is this at Da Nang then?
It was at Camp Red Horse.
Okay, just outside Da Nang. Yeah.
And that was pretty cool because that's I had air conditioning there in the Fire Direction Center. And that was for the computers, which we had not for us. We had what I call a FADAC computer. And it needed a lot of cooling on it. And so we're recipients of that cooling.
So that was a luxury.
Well, the luxury is only about 80 degrees in there all the time. But that was an interesting assignment there. That was just a short period of time because my order to come down and be transferred to Quinyon. But while I was there, I just changed shift at 6 o'clock in the morning. And we look up in the sky, and here a phantom had hit a Vietnamese helicopter. And it was just a fireball coming down, and it was close enough, maybe 3 or 4 clicks away, that we could see pieces and parts and everything flying down out of it. That was just, somebody wasn't paying attention.
I've heard it was the Wild West. Like there was no air traffic control.
Well, there was to a certain extent, but see, we couldn't fire from our fire base. We had to notify them because depending how we'd be firing high, there are no aircraft around.
Right.
So we had to get clearance from that before we could fire. But war is kind of complicated at times.
Yeah.
Like that. So I was there. Then I got assigned to Quinyon. I flew from there down to Pleiku. I was there for about a week, which was beautiful.
In Pleiku?
In Pleiku.
What was it like? Was Pleiku right on the water?
No, it was up in the highlands.
Okay.
It was pine trees around. Very, very pretty. And it was cooler at night. And I was there, and that's where the air cab was at the time. I can remember going to the officer club, and here these guys are. They're pilots, understand. They're on the tables with their cavalry hats on with sabers. They're sword fighting with their sabers from one table to another. And I was just watching. These guys are nuts. But
and you were only there a few days.
I was just there for a couple of days.
Just to lay over
until
or
I
something?
went into Quinyon. I flew down to Quinyon.
What was Quinyon like?
I was a base defense officer, civil military relations officer for the port of Quinyon. There were myself and maybe 5 other officers. We had a colonel and then a major, and then there was myself, a captain, and several others. But we had all the men. I had men who were over the port. We had some Navy there with us, not very many Navy, but and a few Air Force because they had an air base right there. But we had housing right there, so we had to take care of the housing, had to take care of the port, had to take care of the airstrip, and I had 500 Montagnards and nuns working for me. And it was an interesting assignment. I had an interpreter assigned to me because part of my job was if there was an accident, I would have to go out with him to calm the people down, that they would not. So I go out with a foot locker full of money and start handing out money to, if they killed a chicken or something, they pay so much money for the chicken, for eggs for a year or whatever. I don't know. They had a formula for it. And we pay them off and they thank us and leave and go do their thing.
Tell me some of those stories. What's some stuff you had to go out and pay out? How often would you go do that too?
Well, we had a incident where a deuce and a half ran over a Lambro. I don't know if you know what a Lambro is. It was a little 3-wheeled buggy type. It had a wheel in the front, then people could sit on it. It had racks in the back you could sit on, seats you could sit on, then 2 wheels in the back. it had run over one of those and killed several people. So, I mean, I'm out there. They're still kind of clean up the mess. They had the medics there and everything and pulling people off. And my interpreter starts saying, we're sorry. No, sorry. We'll pay you for it. We'll take care of it. So he's filling out the paperwork. He tells me, and I have a chart here, tell me what it was. And I just start peeling off money, giving it to him and all. Had that a lot of the times.
Wow.
And then we did that several times. Jeeps running into people, basically because the kids are drunk, driving a Jeep.
That happened a lot.
A lot of that going on. I had to make sure that they had protection when they did things. And we had a problem where I had to be up all night long myself, and another officer would take turn. We had a duty officer and then another one. All night long, you had to go out and walk around with the sergeant and the guard to check the barracks and all. And we had so much problem with women on post after dark in the barracks and all. And that's where I came the closest time to actually killing somebody.
Okay, tell me that. That sounds good.
There was a woman that she was in there. It was 2:00 in the morning, and we go through the barracks. We turn on the lights to check everything. She gets up and starts running, and we tell her to stop. Dung line. She didn't stop at that point in time. I pulled my .45 and so the sergeant, and she finally stopped. Otherwise, she's going to get it right in the back because they were just causing problems. So I talked to the colonel. He said, well, we got a problem. We got to do something about it. He said, well, I'm going to appoint you the whore control officer. And so we went and got printed out little cards that had the name of the soldier on it, his girlfriend's name, and a picture of her on it. And then they had a board that she could come in for certain hours during the day. And then they'd have to check in and check out. Well, it was okay for the first 3 or 4 weeks. Then all of a sudden we're getting, these guys have 3 and 4 girlfriends. I said, no. We can't do that. You've got one and that's it. But we get tired of her, sir. It was just disgusting.
How long did you do that for then? Had you ever heard that term before?
Never.
That's so
I think
funny.
the colonel made it up. Men are, it just.
Oh my gosh.
We'd have, they'd arrange through the service, a special service, they bring in bands. We have these Filipino bands come in all the time. And that's when I really had trouble with the girls because they get the girls to come in, listen to this band. And I'll never forget the songs they're singing. They could not pronounce singing. Woeing down a wivel. How they sing it. And I'm weaving on a wet plane. Yeah. And they'd be there singing all night long. And after I'd have to have an officer and senior listed there to watch them all night long. We take turns doing it, and it just got old after a while. Of course, the beer is flowing. I mean, they'd buy beer, alcohol, and drugs do not mix. And we'd have, you could smell marijuana all night long, everywhere you went. And what do you do about it?
Yeah. And that was a big base then where you were at?
Well,
you had a lot of people there.
Well, where I was at, we only had about 200 right there. But I had another area where the Montagnards and the nuns were, who provided the security for us. And they were interesting people.
Yeah, tell me about that. What was that relationship like?
Well, they were really good. They were very good. They were very pleasant to work with. They had their own chain of command, and I was over all of them. And I'd go inspect them every now and then, and they had our weapons and all. And I go have dinners with them. And their dinners were interesting. I didn't want to go very bad, but my interpreter said, you got to go, Captain Williams. So I go, and they're preparing their stew, and they get a chicken, they pluck it and everything. And then they just, clean it. And then they just chop it up with great big meat cleavers and throw it into a pot with vegetables and all. And and then they'd dish it into a bowl for you, and then you'd eat it, and you'd spit the bones onto the ground, and the dogs would be down there, and there were a few dogs around, not very many. Most of them were eaten, and so they would come and clean it all up and everything. But in my farewell dinner, they gave me a crossbow. The Montagnard gave me a crossbow with some arrows for it, a little teeny vial of some liquid. And I asked the interpreter, "What is this?" He said, "That's poison. So you just put a little bit on the tip and you shoot something, it will kill him."
Wow.
I said, "I don't think I want that." So I got the arrows at the house. I got that
Crossbow.
crossbow, and it was pretty fun.
That's cool.
And then the last night I was there with them, they had a special dinner for me. And they went out and they killed 100 pigeons. And they prepared them all. And then I go in, they have this great big round bowl, and they have rice in the center coming up with noodles and all. Then around it, they have all these pigeon heads that they boiled and cooked. And my interpreter says, "You have to eat at least one of those pigeon heads." I said, "Why is that?" He said, "It's a great honor because that's the closest thing to heaven is a pigeon flying in the sky." So I ate it. It wasn't that bad.
Is that like eating the brains out of it? Is that what that means? Or was
No,
it
it was,
just
they
eating this?
boiled it. I
Oh,
don't know
I
what
see.
it was. It had a little bit of meat on it.
Oh, wow.
And then they came and brought us soup in a monkey skull.
Oof.
And then they had some other kind of stuff. They'd have rice and fish. They'd have look, Mom, I guess that's how they pronounce it. It was a fermented peppers, oily stuff. That was the most terrible stuff I've ever had in my life.
I've heard stories about that.
And I couldn't drink the water. They didn't have any soda pop there. And it was burning so bad. I said, "Get me a beer." So they gave me a Bombay Bomb or Bailey. I can't recall which one it was. And that tasted like formaldehyde smells. It helped put out the fire. And that was terrible. That was terrible, terrible, terrible.
Was that the end of your time in Vietnam, or did you go to do something after that?
No, I was there till the 4th of December. I left there, went down to Benoit to fly out.
Okay.
But I had a couple of really strange experiences there. We got a call that a body had washed up on shore. And it said it was an American. And so we go over, and it was a black man who was a sailor who got missing off of a merchant marine ship, that they'd found him, and they brought him on the shore, and we go over and looked at him and took him over, and we worked with him there for a while. I mean, he was dead, but we had to cover him up. We called the mortuary unit that we had on post there, and they came over and got him and took him back. And he had been pretty much eaten by the critters in the sea by the time they got him. But while we were there, there's this big box, a plywood box, which had been shipped to Korea, and there's oil coming out underneath it. And there's another one right beside it, had oil underneath it too. I mean, they were huge boxes. But so we go investigate, and we opened it up, and here was half a Jeep in each one of them, the front half and then the back half, that the Koreans had gotten cut in half to send home to Korea.
That's wild.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
And we dealt with Koreans, and they were terrible. I mean, they were not terrible. They are tremendous fighters. I mean, they were just nothing. They'd kill anything. And I had to fly down to Saigon one time to get a footlocker full of piastres to give away, and I couldn't get back into Quinyon because of the plane could not land there because there's problems there. So I flew into another little airstrip not too far away, about 20 miles, 30 miles. And I couldn't get a flight back, so they arranged transportation for me to go with the Korean unit. So they're running a convoy back to Quinyon to go to the port. And so I hitched a ride with them. Well, I got these footlocker. They didn't know what was in them. I didn't want to tell them. So we're driving back and we take some fire. They had these gun trucks, the great big huge gun trucks with quad 50s on it and all this stuff. They were great fighters, but you didn't want to mess with them. They took no prisoners.
I heard nobody messed with them over there.
No. They were really interesting men. They had green money on them, we had our MPC military script. We took that all the way from they're not allowed to have it. And so we took that, and we just didn't do that to any more of them anytime. And so that was an interesting experience. They were just a corrupt. They found while we were in Quinyon, while I was there, they had a firebombing of an orphanage. I don't know why they'd do that to those kids, but they did. And so we went over there to look at it and see if any help we could get. We took all the sheets we could get. We're here, all these small children, and we just covered them with the sheets and everything and all. And why do they do that to kids? I mean, that one was hard to take. Well, they found one of the guys that did it. Those things you don't forget. I mean, it caused some problems. And then I had to go to the hospital there. They had incident after that, a few days after that. And I was in there, here the Vietnamese guy sitting in the waiting area. I mean, such a waiting area it is. He's on a gurney, no legs, got a pan underneath him. He's full of morphine. They got him tourniquets on, and he asked me for a cigarette. I don't smoke. I don't have one. And he died a few minutes later right there. He just, war is terrible. You don't want to be involved with it.
Yeah, that's some rough stuff.
And another experience which we had in Quinyon is I was, because I'm an artillery officer, one of the areas not too far from us, about 2 miles away, got rocketed and mortared overnight. So they called me to come over. So I go over with my interpreter and a couple other people, and we're checking things out. And I go out and see where the mortar hit. So I go out there with a little teeny shovel and go down and find where the fuse tunnel is, where the fuse goes in the ground. It'll stay down there. You can see where it goes. So, and I took a dowel, put it in. That way you can see the direction it's coming from. And if you measure the angle of impact, the angle of departure, the same from mortar, just so it comes up and mathematics like that. And so we could tell where it came from. And so we notified them of that. We were going to notify them of that. So as soon as I did that, I was out there still doing it, and I hear this thump, thump, thump. I hear this thump, thump, thump. I said, "Oh crap!" And I wasn't paying attention, and something told me, "Get out of here." And I loitered. And I said, "Get out of here!" So I started running, and I dove right into we had these bunkers made out of Connex containers. And they were about 6 feet high. But what we did, they would cut out portholes in it and have sandbags all over the top. And I just dove right through that. And where we were at, 3 mortars hit, not too far away. It would have taken, and we felt the shrapnel hit on us. I dodged one there. I dodged one on the firebase, dodged one on the helicopter.
You felt lucky to get out of there.
I was.
Okay, tell me, going home, what happened? Where did you leave from?
Well, one other thing, while I was at Quinyon, I had an interesting experience. The colonel, he would go meet with the province chief periodically, and he knew I was a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. I didn't drink, and he never did see me drinking. But he would go over and meet with the province chief, and so he'd start drinking a lot. He said, your job is to take notes and tell me what they talk about, what we discuss. So I was there for 2 hours. I go out about every half hour. I'd be drinking, we had bottled water. I'd drink the bottled water, had to go out and use that, hurry up, write down some notes and go back in. And the next day he said, okay, Captain Williams, what did I talk about? What did I promise? So that was towards the end. And then.
Did he promise anything, nothing out of the ordinary, or?
No. Just politics as usual for him. I mean.
Yeah.
Wanting to know what our plans were when we were going to leave the Americans, and we were getting towards the end of the war. So
this would have been what,
72 for me.
So the war's a little bit winding down.
Well, it's winding way down because my howitzer, our battalion stood down up at
have you scoot in just a little closer? There you
go. It stood down up in Da Nang, the battalion, and the brigade did. So there's nothing left up there. And that's why we went to Quinyon. All our people were scattered. I missed a drop by about 30 days. I wouldn't have had to stay there the entire time, but it's okay. I was there.
Yeah.
But while I am there at Quinyon, I get a telegram from my mother saying that my daughter, Sarah, had been born and she was okay and she survived the surgery. What? I didn't know she'd even been born, and my mother is telling me she survived the surgery. Well, she was 2 weeks old when she had to have surgery for pyloric stenosis, where she had been born and she'd had a blockage between her intestine and her stomach that wouldn't let it go through. It's a major minor surgery. I mean, it's major. In fact, you have to put them to sleep, go in. It is cut a little muscle, and she's fine. But I didn't know it. I didn't even know she'd been born so I call back and find out all about this. Then 2 days later, I find out she'd been born. So I got the one telegram from the Red Cross before the other one. So that was in July 13th. And then, so I was fairly early at Quinyon. But
it must have been hard being married and knowing that was going on at home.
And then I came home in August for 7 days.
That was R&R?
R&R, flew to Hawaii.
Okay.
It took 2 days to get to Hawaii, then another day home. And I got home, met her and my son, who didn't remember me. And the family met me. And then that one wasn't too bad because it was a flight all the way to San Francisco, and then from San Francisco. No, that was Los Angeles. Los Angeles in. And the people didn't bother us then. Didn't bother me because I was on a quick flight from Honolulu. So, but then that was the hardest thing to do, is go back.
No, I can't imagine, honestly.
But once I get on the plane, it was okay. I mean, it was okay. It wasn't great. I mean, you just do, and you get used to it, going back to whatever you have to do. And then when I was getting ready to come home, I went down to, excuse me, went down to Camp Alpha, which is the out processing facility down there. And a good friend of mine, another captain, he was the commander of it. And so we talked and all, and he said, well, this is the date you'll be getting out, which is like 4 days in the future. I said, that'll be great, whatever. I'm just glad to be going. 2 days later, I get an announcement over the loudspeaker system, Captain Williams, report to the commandant. So I go down and talk to him. He says, we got a plane coming in right now. The airport's under attack. If you can clear customs in 30 minutes, you can leave. So I went and got rid of a whole bunch of stuff I had. I brought home the bow and arrow, the crossbow and arrows. I got rid of most of my clothes. I had one set of civilian clothes, got rid of everything else, and came home. Got over the plane, It was a hot landing for a Pan Am 747. It was hot. And when they landed, it didn't turn off the engines. They went and loaded about 100 people on it, and that was it. And
so it was a big hurry up, get on.
It was a big hurry up, got the people off, got us on. And it was the best flight I've ever had in my life, I think. I flew home.
Was there cheers when it got in the air?
Yeah, they were all happy, but I was up on the top. In the old 747, they had the big.
Yeah, that's a nice area.
They put us up there. We could sit anywhere we wanted. I got up there and had a great big lounge chair, sleep, and these other guys were hooting and hollering, getting drunk. And from there, we flew to Honolulu. Honolulu flew into Travis Air Force Base and got down on the ground and kissed the ground and that things will be okay. I'd forgotten that the commander said, once you get there, change your clothes. And I remembered, I got to change my clothes soon I got in. He said, your welcome will not be very pleasant in San Francisco. So I went in, changed the clothes, come out, and had some civilian clothes on. But people, it's just like the Red Sea parted. As we're walking down, they're spitting on the ground in front of us and calling us baby killer and all this stuff. And it's like, well, they didn't know us. They didn't know what we'd been through. And they knew where we were. I mean, we stunk to high heavens and everybody tan in December, short haircuts and all. But so that was my coming home to the United States.
It must have been pretty startling.
It was. We were all kind of upset about it. I mean, we're just, why are they being this way to us? We've just done what we were told to do, what we were expected to do as a citizen of the country. It's the oath we took to defend this country. And it was kind of unsettling when we got to Salt Lake. It was a lot different with the family.
Yeah.
San Francisco was not good. Not good at all.
Okay, what did you do after you got home?
Got home. I was here we were out in Colville for till Christmas. After Christmas, then went to Fort Sill. I was at Fort Sill for 9 months, going through advanced artillery training, a career course. From there, we were assigned to go to Germany. I flew over to Germany with my wife and the 2 little kids. We landed at Frankfurt with 14 pieces of luggage because that's all we had. I mean,
that was your whole life, right?
That was our whole life until we got other luggage. But we'd driven from Colville to Charleston, South Carolina, drop off our car, and we'd bought in a car while we were Volkswagen while we were in Fort Sill because, hey, we're going to be in Germany to take care of it. We get it over there. They can't work on it. The Germans couldn't work on it because they had American specs. I mean, the fuel injection system was all different. The glass was different. It was crazy. We had to, but
who knew?
I didn't know that. But we got there, and then I was supposed to go up north into the Netherlands, and they changed our assignment down to down into Bavaria to the 512th Artillery Group, which is headquartered in Günzburg, Germany. So we go down to New Ulm, where we took the train down there, and thank goodness there was several soldiers going the same area that spoke German. His wife was a German, so they helped us get down. We had no idea. We didn't know one speck of German. Get down there, and they picked us up. From there, I was the S2 over intelligence for about a year and security.
How was that?
That was an interesting assignment because we had 5,000 top secret documents I had to maintain and take care of. And we took care of the special weapons for the 2nd German Corps. And so we were on an isolated unit. We lived on the economy. Germans were great. Germans were great people to work with. We loved the Germans. They were just fantastic to us. And then I became battery commander. Was that for about 2.5 years. Then we rotated back.
And then did you get out of the military at that point?
No. Came back, and then I was assigned to Fort Snelling, Minnesota, to be the senior artillery advisor to the Minnesota, Iowa, Wisconsin National Guards. Excuse me, there. We went to different units, infantry, the artillery units, infantry battalions, work with their fire observers and all. And then we would go to summer camp, but Camp Ripley, Minnesota, up in northern Minnesota. In the winter camp, we'd go up to winter camp, and coldest place on earth.
I bet that was rough.
It was interesting. It was really cold up there. But we'd go out and be advisors to them and help them and things like that.
The guns, anything different with the guns when it's that cold?
No, they'll still work. The grease is a little bit harder to turn the wheels and all to adjust it. They're just, just cold weather. Our deuce and a halves and 5 tons, they wouldn't turn off at night. Just keep them going all the time so they could keep them running.
40 below zero, is it that kind of thing?
Oh, yeah, it's that kind of cold.
You spit and it freezes before it hits the ground, kind of cold?
Throw a cup of coffee in the air, hot cup of coffee, and it'd be brown ice coming down. But Minnesota, it was a good experience. I had to work on the weekends, and my kids were going to school and all. So I was off during the week getting ready and what can you do? We can't go vacation or anything like that. So I went to school through the VA and through tuition assistance from the Army at the College of St. Thomas. It's now University of St. Thomas. I got a master's in business management, finance, and marketing. Well, finance, but a minor in marketing. So I did that for 3.5 years, every Tuesday and Thursday night. We came down on order to go back to Europe in an isolated unit, and my son would have been 10. My daughter would have been an 8. My wife said, if you're going by yourself because I'm not going with you. So I resigned my commission, got my master's, got out, and 6 months later I got promoted to major. It was all good. Enjoyed our time in the service, loved it. If that assignment would have been probably anything else, I wouldn't have gotten out of the service.
Yeah.
But things happen, and it's okay. You just make the best of it, and it was for the best to get out. But thoroughly loved the Army, loved the camaraderie, loved the men. I had some good friends from there.
Yeah. What takeaway from Vietnam? What's your takeaway having been over there?
Oh, well, I have a lot of feelings on that. Old men politicians sell young men to die. And politics and war don't match. You can't work. Politics can't get involved in war. The fact that we could have killed and destroyed those people who are trying to hurt us on the rocket attack. They wouldn't let us do it because of politics, whether it's U.S. politics or rules of engagement, or if it's the people over there, the Vietnamese. It just gets in the way of doing things. If you're going to go to war to fight, you fight to win. You don't fight to waste time and money or political agendas. You just see what's going on right now. It's crazy.
How did it affect you coming home? For you, just you feel like you carried some PTSD home with you?
I did. I didn't know I had it till about 3 years ago.
Tell me about that.
Oh, soon as I got home from Vietnam, I went down to the University of Utah. That's where to meet with the cadre there, because they knew I was going to Vietnam, and they wanted me to come and see them when I got back, if I got back. So I got back, and we're down there, and I met with the major and the colonel and talked to some of the cadets, and come outside, talking to them. All of a sudden, I hear some rifle shots, and I'm on the ground like that, tore the knees out of my dress green uniform, and the guys start laughing and everything. They didn't know. I mean, they're young cadets. They didn't know what was going on. Major Grossi got to them.
It was just instinctual, though, for you.
Oh, yeah. It happened a lot.
You didn't even think. It just reacted.
Happened a lot. Loud noises at home, at night especially. It was tough for my wife for quite a while. Loud noises, and short fuse.
Did you even recognize what that? I know they didn't really identify that for a long time.
No, I didn't know until I was going for a Agent Orange screening because my lungs were so bad. I didn't even know that caused it until about 15 years ago. Went up to VA, and then they started talking about it. Then got screened for PTSD about 3 or 4 years ago when I had all the symptoms of it, and they helped me a lot.
What are they? That's been helpful. The VA's been very helpful on that.
VA has been very helpful. If anybody's suffering from it, from combat or trauma, they got different programs to go through, and they're very, very kind and helpful with that.
It's having interviewed a bunch of guys, it's really amazing how that 1 year experience in this foreign place is extrapolates through almost every aspect of their life from then on.
I'm being shot at with mortars and all. They're mortaring where we're at as we're getting ready to leave. And I get home 3 days later, and you're supposed to be normal. People have been trying to kill you for a year, and you're supposed to be normal. And you're not supposed to take this trauma with you after you see people die. And you're shooting in defense of your country, and you're hearing things and seeing things and smelling things. I mean, the sights, the sounds, the smells of burning flesh are not what you want to see. Or bodies flying through the air. It's not something you want to. It stays with you. It's in the back of your mind. It's back there, but it's present. It's just hidden for a long time.
I've heard from a lot of guys that the older they got, the more some of it comes back in dreams, or, you know what I mean? Which they didn't expect, I don't think.
It didn't hit me till I retired.
How long ago was that? When did you retire?
2023.
And how old are you now?
I'm in 2013.
Oh.
I'm 79 right now. But while you're busy all the time and doing things, and I was okay, but when you retire, you got more time on your hands and you think and all. And, but and in fact, all the things which we did take a toll on your body, and things don't come out until you get older. Like, kids that have football injuries, which I did. I had surgery for it, and I was okay until about 20 years ago, and then the arthritis hits in your knees, and then my lungs from Vietnam, from Agent Orange and other things, and the cancers which you get.
Do you have scarring in your lungs? What happened to your lungs?
Just Agent Orange, lungs, asthma, COPD.
Yeah.
All that stuff. We had burn pits on our firebase because you'd shoot anywhere from charge 1 to charge 7, and if you only shoot at charge 2, you got charge 3 through 7. You had to throw in a pit, and so we had these great big fires and burn that, all our garbage, and of course we had latrine detail up there on the firebase where they get the half 55-gallon drums cut in half that the waste is in, and you pour diesel in it and burn it up.
Yeah, that ain't good for anybody's lungs.
It's just, and then the smell of powder all the time.
Yeah.
And the fires and all. It just does damage to your lungs.
Yeah. Advice for anybody else who's dealing with stuff when they're older, what would you say to them?
Probably the best thing you can do is go to the VA, get help. If you need assistance, talk to the American Legion, the Veterans of Foreign War, Disabled Veterans of America. Get some help. You deserve it.
Yeah. And there's help available.
It is. And don't wait too long, because you live with it long enough. Don't let it keep on going on.
You went on the honor flight.
Yes.
Tell me about that.
I was able to go with my son, which is a great experience for both of us. It was really good. Enjoyed it. When we got there, we got off the plane in Washington. And all these kids welcomed us home. And that was very touching. And then we went to the monuments and went to Vietnam Monument, all the monuments. Vietnam, I went and saw the names of some of the people I knew from where I grew up. And that was really great. And on our way there, we had some letters from people at home. I'm sorry, thanking us for what we did. And so it was a great experience. And we came home. We've been at the airport late in the evening and it was totally different from what we had before. I kind of put an end to what happened in San Francisco. It helped, but it was a great experience. I'd recommend any veteran to go on that. It's a wonderful program to support them and help them do it.
Yeah. It's kind of the welcome home you guys deserved. Really.
Yep. That was the worst part of Vietnam, was coming home. Being treated like that in San Francisco.
Yeah, it's honestly, it's hard for me to wrap my head around that it was that way.
And especially on the honor flight, a lot of us from Vietnam, we all had the same experience. And you'll hear some politicians say, oh, it wasn't that bad. It was.
Yeah.
After you put your life on the line and you're welcomed home like that.
Yeah. Anything else you want to talk about? Any other stories that come to mind?
Go Army, beat Navy.
Did you still have friends did you make many friends that you kept over there, or was that kind of compartmentalized when you were in Vietnam?
We were fillers. I had several good friends from over there. One of them was a colonel. He was in the same unit at Fort Sill and went through basic training at Fort Sill. We went to the second. I was in Bravo Battery. He was in Alpha Battery or Charlie. I can't recall which. Did all that together. Went to the Vietnam orientation course together. We're in the same unit in Vietnam. He had one battery, and I had another battery. And then we went to the career course together. And then I went to one place in Germany. He went to another, and we kept in touch a little bit, but not much.
Yeah.
But no, because we were just kind of fillers.
Yeah.
All my men.
Yeah. I mean, the guys
kind of sad.
The guys in World War II, right? They had
organization.
They got to go over as a group and come home as a group. They got to decompress on the boat.
Yeah, in Vietnam, pretty much if you didn't go with your unit to begin with, you were just a filler.
Yeah.
As time went by, because your tour was 12 months.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, thanks. What an honor.
Well,
thank you for sharing. What a real honor.
Hopefully you can use some of it.
Don't be modest. It was fantastic. I really appreciate it. It's cool to hear the ins and outs of all that. And there's a cost to going to war for people. And it's the big and the little things. There's a million little things.
And the cost goes on after the war is over for, 60 years, 70, 80 years to the next generation.
Yep.
And they don't realize that. Up at the VA now, it's so many are dying all the time, and they're being taken care of the best they can, but so many have problems.
Yeah.
And it's more up here than it is elsewhere.
Yep. Yep.
For a lot, and you got to get over it and move forward.
Yep. Well, thank you, sir.
I'll appreciate it. Thank you.
Welcome home, man.
Thank you.